improvements at the Archer Heights Library that's been languishing for about 3 years now. City budgets have been cut back. Every time we called, we kept on saying the work order is in, the work order is in. We never got a satisfactory answer. So last year when the Alderman was here, we gave him a list of what we needed, and some of the stuff was delayed, but he again jumped on it. So I'm happy to say that the granite walkway was completely repaired in front of the Archer Heights Library. That was a key part of the renovation. So that has been replaced. Next on the agenda is the sprinkling system, which has been broken for 3 years. And then they're going to replace the shrubbery that was previously torn out, and some decorative lamps that were knocked down because a car jumped the curb and crashed into them several years ago. This is all to be done by Memorial Day. And once we have all this done, we intend on reactivating our library garden committee. We used to have a volunteer library garden committee that was sponsored by our Civic Association. It was a group of ladies and gentlemen that would go once a week to the library and pull weeds and plant flowers and tend to the gardens as a supplement to what the city was doing. So that garden used to look terrific. Well, with the sprinkler system broken, you couldn't do much anything. Every time you try to plant something, everything would die. In fact, last year I had an arrangement with Menards. They were going to give us all of their end of the season plants that we could take, and we were going to go take them and plant them at the Arch Branch Library. We couldn't do that because the sprinkler system was broken. So it was a lost opportunity there. We're hoping we can strike that deal with Menards again this year, but we'll see about that. That's undecided. But I do want to express our sincere appreciation to Alderman Burke for tackling this and helping us get the library back up to snuff. And before I also introduce Alderman Burke, I want to express thanks to him. He sent out a special letter to everybody in the 14th Ward area of Archer Heights, whether you're a member of our Civic Association or not, asking you to come to this meeting, also asking you to join our Civic Association, and we appreciate his help in that effort. Thank you, Alderman. And I know I saw him walk in. Dr. Post. He's hiding from me. That way you can't throw darts at me. So without further ado, Alderman Burke, the floor is yours.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm delighted to be here with you tonight. At times I try to begin remarks with a little bon mot or funny observation. And sometimes I'm reminded of the words of King Henry VIII, who said to his fourth wife, "Not to worry, I promise I will not keep you long." Tom, thank you for the kind introduction. Once again, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight for the Archer Heights Civic Association meeting. When I spoke with the group last year, I talked to you about the new City of Chicago Ward map, which was approved by the City Council in January of 2012 and employed by the Board of Election Commissioners for the presidential election in November of 2012. The new boundaries are a matter of great interest to citizens of Chicago, and accordingly your newsletter suggested that I say a few words about the pending lawsuit filed by the League of Women Voters. Unfortunately, as a party to the lawsuit, I'm a defendant in that lawsuit. I really can't comment publicly about a pending piece of litigation, but rest assured that I'm committed to serving the interests of both the new and the former residents of the 14th Ward. The success of our efforts to keep our neighborhoods vibrant and the long list of upgrades to the infrastructure of the Archer Heights community, I hope, demonstrates the strength of that commitment. Over the past year, the dynamic partnership between my office and the Civic Association has successfully addressed many important issues and concerns of the community. And as I sat there listening to the presentations, I was reminded about so many of those examples. Together, we did stop the transfer station from opening at 42nd and Knox. When the residents of the community voiced their disapproval about a proposal to open a gentleman's club at 41st and Pulaski, we did stop that in the bud. And I can also say that I've had a great number of titles during my 4 decades in politics, but the one that I particularly cherish is that of the alley alderman. In other words, I take a lot of pride in ensuring that city services to which the residents are entitled are completed on time and on budget. And on that note, I think we can all appreciate how much time and money the Department of Streets and Sanitation is saving with the switch to a new grid garbage collection. The entire community now can experience having its garbage picked up on the same day, which fosters a much cleaner neighborhood and discourages rats. Now that everyone has a blue card, I hope you all do, I encourage everyone to separate your glass, plastic, and paper from the regular garbage. Recycling can lead to considerable savings on hauling and landfill expenses. Over the past 12 months, we've received a number of requests. I would like to hope that most of them met or are currently in the process of being funded. A perfect example, I believe, of what community requests can accomplish was the installation of new lights at the Archer Manor Little League field. We worked very closely with the Chicago Park District to get those lights up and running in time for the new baseball season. And a few weeks ago, I had the great privilege of being out there with Tom to attend the opening day parade and the lighting ceremony. In spite of the cold and rain, the boys and girls and parents, grandparents, volunteers, and organizers put on a fantastic display of community spirit. With the new lights, these young athletes have even more opportunities to reach for excellence, to learn teamwork, and to make memories that will last them a lifetime. Their families can take pride in watching those children grow and learn to play this elegant game, our great American pastime. In terms of infrastructure upgrades, new water mains are currently being installed at the South Ridgeway from 47th Street to Archer, South Ridgeway from Archer to 49th Street, South Lawndale from 47th to Archer. Though the construction does entail some lane closures and traffic inconveniences, the benefits of increased efficiency and safety will more than outweigh the temporary inconveniences. Last week's sinkhole incident on the southeast side clearly demonstrates the serious consequences of deferring maintenance on these major infrastructure assets. New traffic signals will be installed at the intersection of 47th and Kildare to help alleviate the congestion in the area. The Department of Transportation is resurfacing Archer Avenue from Kildare on the east to Cicero on the west. And lastly, at our insistence, People's Gas has been steadily addressing leaks and other maintenance issues in Archer Heights through the Accelerated Main Replacement Program. After a few months of waiting, we've just begun the urgent repairs to the Archer Heights Library, as was reported earlier. In a short period of time, we hope to achieve a complete renovation to keep the library a vital community center and a resource for learning. I send special thanks to Tom, Stan, and all the officers and directors of the Archer Heights Civic Association. The time and energy that they expend to help keep this community a safe, clean, and attractive place is really something that you can take great pride in. As in the past, I'm well aware of the Nighthawk team out looking for graffiti and other concerns to be reported to appropriate city departments. And once again, I'd like to make a donation to help defer the cost of gas for the Nighthawk program.
Thank you.
Finally, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the sacrifice and the dedication of our brave women and men in the armed forces. Many of us know someone who's deployed overseas, whether a friend, a neighbor, or even a family member. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers. Recently, we had a special occasion to honor a homegrown hero, Omar Torres, by dedicating one block of Keeler Street south of 47th to his memory. By commemorating Omar's life and service, we also celebrate the qualities that keep the Archer Heights community such a great place in which to live, work, and raise families. I hope that that street sign will inspire others to follow in the noble tradition of service and sacrifice that Omar Torres so well exemplified. Please remember all of our women and men serving in the military. It's important that we support them at home and welcome them back to their families and friends when they return. I know that many of us were mesmerized, were we not, in the recent weeks with the bombing that took place in Boston. And it's interesting, isn't it, to note that without the alert women and men who live in that area, without their cooperation with the women and men of law enforcement, who knows whether or not those bombers would have ever been apprehended. It's hard to imagine the tragedy that has befallen those families, the families of the victims who lost their lives, the family of the 7-year-old girl who was so fond of Irish step dancing, who lost her leg in the bombing, the family of the police officer who was gunned down by these terrorists, the hundreds of people who have suffered life-changing injuries and whose lives will be forever changed for the worse because of what these two monsters did. It's hard to imagine that two people could wreak the havoc, the tragedy, the devastation that these two people did. People who were welcomed into this nation by American citizens, people who came here from a foreign country and who were given the benefit of all that this nation could offer. It makes us all aware, I think, of the fact that we need to be the eyes and the ears of law enforcement. If that man in that backyard who walked out to get some fresh air didn't take note of the fact that the cover of his boat had been moved and look into that boat, who knows whether or not that perpetrator would have been apprehended, but that just underlines the importance of cooperating with the law enforcement. If you see something suspicious, you need to call 911. You need to mark down the information. You need to take note of the identification of the person. You need to write down a license number. And if any of you, I noticed, have some of our window signs, there's some very important hints on the back of those signs about what we need to do in terms of noting information. None of us can be completely certain that we won't suffer an act of terrorism. And on the Frontline TV show the other night, I noted that one of the experts in terrorism observed that our battle against terrorism is a lot like a hockey game. That you can have a great defense, but no matter how great your defense might be, there's always the chance that some one of those players can get that puck through the goalie. And we can never be 100% certain that can't happen here. We can look back in Chicago history to bombings, and one that I talked about today in the City Council was the Haymarket bombing that took place in 1886. 1886, when 7 police officers were killed when a terrorist threw a bomb into a crowd. It's remarkable, the irony of the fact that as much as things change, they remain the same. In 1886, a terrorist in Chicago wreaked havoc and destruction and mayhem, just as these terrorists did in 2013 in Boston. So the people of Boston have set a great example, have they not? When you think about their cooperation with law enforcement, when you think about how they opened their homes to those people that were injured, those people that were exhausted and after having run the marathon and were unable to go back to their rooms and hotels that had been shut down. The people that used their own belts to make tourniquets to stop bleeding on people that they never had known before. Those first responders that rushed towards the blast, not away from the blast, serve as examples of bravery and courage and patriotism that we need to feel a sense of commitment to and solidarity with. It reminds us that those phrases that the people of Boston coined 2.5 centuries ago when this nation was founded, give me liberty or give me death, the kinds of concepts that they wrote to Bunker Hill for, the Minutemen that created the first effort to defeat King George of England, are not simply hollow, empty words or phrases. They're concepts that echo in the minds and hearts of Americans, whether they're north or south or east or west, whether they're in Boston or Los Angeles or New York or here in Chicago. We have a great city here in Chicago. We're all proud of the metropolis that we call home. And it's people like you, neighborhoods like this, neighborhoods that we have said so often really are the heart of Chicago, which makes Chicago this the most American of American cities. Thank you all so much for your attention, and God bless America.
Okay, the audience going to take questions now, and for those of you that may be attending the first time or haven't been here for a while, my protocol is that you stand up, state your name and your address, and then you can pose your question or your comment to the audience. So with that said, I'll move on.
Yeah, cuz.
I got my mic.
He's a family plant, you notice?
First of all, I go to the CAPS meetings every month. And Sergeant Kane brought up a problem. They said Alderman Lane has a representative, Alderman Quinn has a representative, but we don't have a representative from the 14th to the 23rd Ward. I would like to invite you to the next CAPS meeting on Wednesday, June 5th.
I'll check my calendar and see if I'm available. Very frankly, I don't know about the sergeant that you're referring to, but I don't recall getting an invitation to these meetings. I'm pretty responsive, I'd like to think. If I'm not there, I would have a representative there.
Well, I'm a family member, I'm inviting you.
All right, brother.
And we'll be on St. Bruno.
Give me the information.
Okay, I sure will.
I'm there every morning years. Now, the most recent plan was to use the Burlington Coat Factory as the anchor tenant for a very attractive development. Now, about 3 weeks ago, the Burlington Coat Factory pulled out, which puts their plans in jeopardy. Although the last we heard, the developer was trying to encourage Sports Authority to be the anchor tenant, which would be a very attractive choice. But of course, without a major anchor tenant, that project can't go ahead. So at the present time, it's doubtful. Yes, ma'am.
I'm from the city of 49%. I'm the neighbor block, and then the reporting week. And my question is about the yellow and black speed bumps in their alleys. Really far out. Is there anything we can do about removing them and get the old ones in, or none at all? You know which ones I'm talking about?
The speed bumps are, there's good and bad about them. Some people like them, some people don't.
What's good about them?
But we ordinarily don't do it, do we, Pete, unless there's a community request?
Request on that block.
We're not out there installing them without receiving a request for them.
What is the black and yellow ones?
All right, we'll talk with Pete later about your specific issue to see if there's something to be done. But we don't ordinarily go out and just unilaterally install them without having a request from somebody in the community. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Jamie Searle. I live at 4335 South Leavitt. I'm wondering if there's going to be any chance that we can repaint 44th Street. I called and to credit the cash very quickly, but it's gotten to the point where they crash over top, and the street is getting so rough that it's hard for the fires to turn the road and stop at the stop signs.
Do we have any plan on the 44th Street?
44th Street. 44th Street was scheduled to be resurfaced this year. The city of Chicago's put it on hold because there's a water main being planned to be put into the area, so it'll go into the 2014 project.
Okay.
So hopefully, when I come back in
Where's the light parking, so can you hold when Andy gets it to you?
I was going to say, before it goes on to the next up to that 44th Street project, could, from the commencement Karloff Alley to Karloff, that section, just that section, that's the worst section on 44th Street.
We'll take right into the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Kruger, 4740 South Foster, and you might not be happy that you are playing the Valley Alderman. On the issue of speed bumps, on April 12th, speed bumps were put in my valley on the 4700 block between Foster and Kenneth. To my knowledge, no one on our block was asked to give input on those speed bumps. Let me finish. There was one request. As far as I know, one request to put them in. And that actually was not a formal request for speed bumps. It was really an afterthought of other problems on Kenneth Avenue. Now, having said that, I wrote your office, I got a response back, and I was summarily denied. I would like to know what the criteria is for getting speed bumps put into an alley from one requester when I have requested to have them removed, or at least get input from the people in front of the block on both sides of Kenneth and Foster. They are a detriment, they are uncalled for as far as I'm concerned. And I would suggest, when it comes winter time and there's snow and ice, and those speed bumps get covered over, more people are going to have cars ruined, including myself, my neighbor who was right outside where the speed bumps are installed. There's no need for speed bumps in the alley. I'm asking you respectfully to please get them removed.
Do we have a response?
The alley that you're speaking of, that request generated from last year's meeting when the Alderman was here?
One request.
The request came in, one request, it was just one person, but they legitimately wrote a note on there explaining, asking for speed humps, not only in the alley, but also on the street. But your organization and our office have an agreement that we want to work together and have a petition for a little bit more input regarding speed humps on streets. And Tom and I, we've been working back and forth on that. We've had a written request from a resident. I personally was out there and I seen what the resident was, not so much she was referring to about a car dealership, but she was also referring to of the parents when they were leaving this fine facility, speeding through the alley. So I kind of seen that going on. We put them in. They're there now. We can see how they work. We can take them out. Okay?
Well, I'm asking you to take them out. One
They're going to
person
be-
cannot be the sole person to decide whether speed bumps are put in an entire alley of residents. How can you not ask for input from everybody on the block?
The speed humps have been in less than a month.
I know it, but if I don't ask for it now, they're gonna be there forever. And I'm just telling you, another neighbor's car was damaged already. And I also don't appreciate that there was a reference that Mario's auto repair was the cause of those cars going through the alley. He is a fine, upstanding businessman in our community. To say that his business caused this is preposterous and very offensive.
Tom and
Mr. Burke,
Tom and I spoke about
believe
that.
that you would not want that in your own alley if you drive into your own alley or into your own garage. I'm asking you, please, to get it.
Can those things be removed? Anybody else?
Yes, my name is Dolores Lynn, and I live at 4317 South Carolina. For the last 2.5 years, I've been having problems with people that have decided to put up basketball on the back of their garage. We sometimes have spending as 15 or 20 dollars.
I think we've gone through this one before, haven't we? It's a different location, okay.
I don't know what to do anymore. The police come up, they tell me the streets are sand, and streets and sands are not getting any kind of answer. Can you tell me what I can do? They already damaged my garage, and the man has like 9 children. He refuses to take the roof down. What can I do?
You know, city government can do a lot of things, but we can't make people good neighbors. We also can't invade somebody's private property and damage it. What's the address again?
The address is 4316 South Kaminsky.
4316 South Kaminsky is where your neighbor has the basketball hoop installed on his garage in the alley. And what is your address?
My address is 4317 South Carolina.
So you're right across the alley. Okay.
Now that you spit at my dog, I can't even put my dog out anymore.
And
I've been threatening myself by their children.
and the police tell you what?
They tell me that I should call streets and sanitation. I call streets and sanitation, and I don't know what they're doing.
All right, we'll have somebody out there take a look at it. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Yes, ma'am.
Don't wait, you gotta get something back.
Alderman Edward 45 feet.
45 Keeler. I'm sorry, I can't hear. Hold it not so close to your lips.
45 South Keeler.
4525 South Keeler.
What on the street, walking through the alley, put the bag go, get the old.
I can't understand him. Can you understand him?
George, you're holding it too close.
What can we do about these people walking in the alley, putting the bag open for their room to change, and leaving a mess? And
throughout the alleys collecting aluminum cans.
And they were not. Yeah.
Well, if they go onto your private property, that's a violation.
But they're even less than the alley. You put cans and you put on the good.
You know, well, maybe you can get that.
It's the League of Solomon.
This is an old situation, but George, I'm gonna tell you what people do in my neighborhood, my area, the Civic Association. They actually take a little shopping bags that you get from Dominic's or whatever, put the cans in there, hang it on their fence. I mean, that way, nobody digs in the garbage. And the they get recycled, you know, or just throw them inside the blue container. That's the only thing I can say.
The other question, Alderman, was, I'd like to thank you.
George, you're holding that too close.
I'd like to thank you, Superintendent of Sanitation, for the good service I got when I cut a tree down. I called John Nurse, and he had it out there picking it up real quick.
Good.
Thank you.
Gracias a Dios. Somebody said thank you.
Good evening, Alderman.
Good evening.
Name and address.
I'm not going to say anything about this one, but talking about speed bumps.
Name and address.
The worst speed bumps that was put in the neighborhood is on just off of Archer on Trip. Right around the corner, and I feel bad if we have a fire truck coming down the corner and they turn onto Trip. And it's a rough bump. It's not easy to go over, and you could really do damage on your car, and there's one in the middle of the next block. It's something that really should be looked at. It's pretty bad to come off of or off Archer on the Trip. You could do some damage on your car if you're going too fast, or if it's a truck like a fire truck. But my one question is I was wondering whatever happened with the survey that was done on 43rd Street last year. I think the street is not being utilized, being open as a two-way street. And two, will the streets in the industrial area, especially Kildare, now with all the traffic, ever be repaid because they're getting pretty bad with all the lumps and bumps that are on it? Going all the way down Kildare, all the way around over to I-55, going over to Pulaski. It's getting pretty bad.
Didn't this 43rd Street thing come up once before about the two-way?
It's going nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know we had some of the streets changed all the way through the 43rd, one way, so I don't know what happened.
Good evening.
Hold on, sir.
My name is George Scobie.
George, hold on, he's got it.
We've got an answer.
I think we addressed some of these issues a year ago, like 43rd Street. Didn't we change some of those streets? No.
We changed some of the north-south streets. It was agreed to leave 43rd Street in the direction that it is.
So you're telling me that 43rd Street?
Yeah, it's still one way, and it was going to be surveyed because there isn't much traffic on there.
Well, what
No,
was the result of the
It
survey?
was agreed to leave 43rd Street one way eastbound out of the industrial.
Pardon me?
It was agreed to leave 43rd Street eastbound out of the industrial park. That's what the Department of Transportation. City of Chicago. Department of Transportation did their survey, met with the officers of your organization. It was agreed to leave 43rd Street eastbound out of the industrial park. And I need to know where the speed bump is.
Archer and Trip, did you say?
Yeah.
For the speed bump? Is there something different with these new speed bumps they're putting in? Are they severe than the old ones?
They're too high, too fast. That's almost very high. You make a damage.
There are two types of speed humps. There's the street speed hump and the new speed hump that is being put in the alleys. They are a rubber type of speed hump. The reason for installing them, they can be installed quicker, they can be removed quicker, they cost less, they don't have to send out as much equipment to put them in and out. That's the reason. Some of the speed humps on the streets have been installed a little bit higher than normal, especially with the lower cars, but they have their guidelines that they follow with the speed humps. But we have a moratorium on putting in any speed humps on streets within the Archer Heights community. Okay? That's working with your leadership, your organization. There are no speed humps scheduled to be put in on the streets in the Archer Heights community this year.
All right, get hers out of there.
It'll be out. I'm going to have her and her neighbor talk also.
Stand up, please.
My name is Joe. I'm 47 officer. I'm sorry. And I've seen so there's about 3 that I see now on the speed bump because what I know is about 3 or 4 cars got damaged and was Mario. So I'm scared because the speed bump is right on the side of my garage. And I see this daily, all these cars. This one guy got so mad because he hit it and he looked to see if something fell because it was like a crash. And I'm afraid in the winter time, how am I going to get in and out of the garage? It's so hard. Her too. It's so hard. She's got an elderly mother, my child. I'm afraid that something's going to happen. So please, I beg you, please think about it. Thank you.
Sorry, another issue. Sorry, another issue. What is being done about these handbills going on in garages? They are defacing the frames of the garages. I have sent these to your office on numerous occasions with my address on there, and nothing gets done. Aren't these people being prosecuted?
Yes, ma'am, it's not true that nothing has been addressed. It's not true that they're not been addressed.
Okay.
We receive them in from many of the people from your organization. Mika actually gets on the computers, starts tracking down the phone numbers. Some of them are listed, some of them are not. As soon as we can get an address or something, John Ramirez is issuing tickets and sending them tickets to the individuals. I caught an individual yesterday posting them in the neighborhood, and they chased him out of here. He tells me he gets his orders from meeting with a gentleman at a restaurant in Cicero. And he's dropped off here. I says, you can't put him in this community, right? But if we can track down these phone numbers, many of the phone numbers on those slips are cell numbers. So they're not trackable, right? They're not in the phone pages, telephone books that we can find them, right? So that takes our time. But we're writing them citations for putting them on the garages.
Andy, there's been hands coming up over there all the time. Right.
Alderman Burke.
Yes.
My name is George Silvey. I'm on the Building and Zoning Archer Heights Civic Association. I'd like to know some information about the vacant property where Marshall's Bowling Alley City by the Orange Line. Do you know why we can't get a developer to take over that property, or why can't we have the city use that for parking for the Orange Line?
Because it's owned by Mr. Ramones, who owns Pete's Market, and he owns a lot of property in the area, but apparently has not yet come up with a good use for the site. And I'm sure he'd be happy to sell it to somebody who wanted to pay his price.
So basically, it's going to stay as it is.
It's private property. It's not in violation of any city did on Pulaski. That's a beautiful development with a grocery store and a gymnasium and a Chinese restaurant and a healthcare clinic. So anything he would do would be high quality.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Go on. Thank you.
Come on. Hey, guys.
Let's go, guys.
Yeah, Alderman, Burke, my name is Bill Becky,
Yes.
34 South Kilpatrick. I think I spoke with you here last year about the Gillespie Triangle at Costner and Archer. I told you that our former Zaluski,
Mike Zaluski?
yeah, Mike Zaluski, renovated and by renovating it, they took down the sign that was there for Chester Zaluski. It was dedicated to him during the, I believe, first Mayor Daley's reign. And it was because he was a city agent. He worked for the city, and they gave him some honor. But that honor was taken down when they renovated the triangle. And for the past 4.5, 5 years, I've been trying to get it put back so we can demand the honor. And it hasn't been done. Last year I talked with you, you said, give all the information to my secretaries, and I did, and nothing ever happened. I was just wondering if he's just a forgotten man now, and that can't be done.
I'm sorry that I told you that last year and there's been no response. I will have an answer for that question within a week. If you'll call my office, you'll find out what's going on.
I will do this, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, here. No, Joe. No, get the mic, Joe, so everybody can hear you.
It's in the Southwest News Herald, the 13th Ward, Alderman Quinn.
Marty Quinn is the alderman of the 13th.
All right, the people on graffiti plaster, is there any change to the 14th Ward of the Bible?
What is it?
Graffiti plaster.
A graffiti blaster?
You know, just to get the graffiti off the bricks and they blast it. Because we don't get it all clean.
Are you experiencing difficulty with getting graffiti removed?
Yes, we are.
And you say there's a story in the Southwest News Herald that Marty Quinn bought a graffiti blaster?
Yes.
He's going on.
I would seriously doubt that he bought it. He must have gotten a grant from the state to operate it. And it's not just buying a graffiti blaster. It's who's going to drive the truck, who's going to operate the machinery, who's going to pay for the insurance.
Pass the mic out. The lady back there.
Yes, sir.
My name is Maria Volca. Last time I asked you for to install the sign for way 49 and get there, and it was done, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Another thing I want to mention is about this lights. Last year, you know, on the phone, there were those young kids, the kids, and they're putting the sign in the garage. So I asked her, I said, respond.
I was very upset. Because this is, you know.
Anything else? Let's call. All right, last two questions.
Yes, sir.
My address is 4533 The problem is, the truck driver, they don't know the politics and until. So they take the politics and go west, and until they turn left and go south. There is no street for truck. Now, last year, the city made a beautiful sidewalk, now, I don't know what they try.
I can explain what that means. The split pit in the catalog, I might not go back. We needed sign from 45th plus, don't turn the truck. Because a lot of the...
Well, that's a different one, but he's talking.
Yeah, that's what I try to explain. They make it damage because they got no room to turn. They try that way, they try that way. They go to the sidewalk. They can hit the car if they have a parking, over here. Because they have a sign.
Maybe you can see the Alderman's assistant after the meeting.
I don't know if you can put a sign on.
Pulaski and what? 45th and Pulaski.
Yeah, they need a sign.
So the trucks are coming in on 45th Street?
Yes, I was going out the other day.
Trucks come in on 45th Street and then turn left on Keeler, what you're saying?
Because the stop, can't go nowhere.
Right.
They have
So we need a sign at 45th and Keeler.
We need a sign in Pulaski.
Say no trucks on 45th
Yes.
and Pulaski.
That's
For
what we need
45th
to
Street.
sign. Because there's some new drivers, they don't know.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay, are we finished with questions, we hope? All right.
Thank you.
Alderman, thank you. Please don't keep me up. We want to express our sincere thanks for Alderman coming out. He's had a very busy day today. I watched the city council proceedings because they streamed that live. So the Alderman was at city council for a couple hours and he still managed to make it out to our meeting. We appreciate that, Alderman. I know you've had a long day. And on behalf of our graffiti patrol and night watch, I want to thank you for that unexpected donation. We appreciate that. I also want to acknowledge a couple other people here. Pete Andrews is the Alderman's chief of staff. He's a good man that we work with all the time on a lot of things. John Ramirez, the 14th Ward Superintendent. John, stand up. John's another good guy that we talk to all the time. Mika, the Alderman's assistant. She handles all the graffiti stuff coming in. That's coming in from Jones. So. And Raphael is somewhere there in the back. Raphael, thank you for being out here also. Last but not least, we have Elizabeth with us from the Archer Branch Library. She's the head librarian.